Hi, I'm Barehands. Let's talk about video games. Rawr, 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 rawr. I love video games. They've been with me for most of my life, helping to create some of the most vivid and entertaining memories I have. Let me explain with one of my clearest early memories of a game that affected the rest of my life. When I was about 10 years old, my family took a vacation with our cousins to the Thousand Islands on the St. Lawrence River, right at the border of New York State and Canada. While there are loads of awesome memories from that trip, I want to just zoom in on one. One of our cousins brought his Game Boy and let my big brother play his Pokemon Red game while we hung out in the lodge. I remember crowding around with all my brothers watching him prepare for his battle with Brock, when all of a sudden, after an epic battle and victory against a Weedle, something fantastic happened. His Metapod evolved into a Butterfree. My little 10-year-old brain would never be the same, and I've been hooked on Pokemon ever since. My parents were pretty strict with limiting video games in our house, so at this point, to my memory, we didn't have any. Soon after this trip, though, they bought the 5 of us 1 or 2 Game Boys to share, along with our own copies of Pokemon. I'm thankful Mom and Dad didn't want us vegging out in front of a screen for countless hours. They kept us balanced, well-rounded, which is very important. But I'm also very thankful they allowed us to experience the amazing worlds in our games, because those are some of the greatest and happiest shared memories I have with my brothers. Other than Pokemon, there were a few other games that brought us countless hours of entertainment, such as Kirby's Dream Land, Link's Awakening, and Mega Man. But for quite a few years, our Game Boys were the only systems we had. About a mile down the road from our house, some of our best childhood friends owned a few different systems. I remember walking that mile seemed so far as a kid, but totally worth it for the epic Tekken and Tekken Tag rounds we'd play. I think my competitive nature began to flourish during these years. You see, there are extra high stakes when you play fighting games with 6 people waiting for a turn to play. Not only do you feel the sting of defeat, causing you to question your self-worth and abilities as a person, but you also cycle out, stewing in the misery of defeat while you wait for your next chance at redemption. Less frequently, we would have sleepovers at some of our other friends' house, where we would stay up into the evil hours of the night playing Super Smash Bros. Yup, you guessed it. Pikachu was my top pick, and I rocked that stage with endless streams of thundering lightning. Looking back, it had to have been crazy annoying to play against, but there was something special about catching someone in the clouds and frying both opponents on either side with one move. Years later, my older brother went to college in Tennessee, which made for some awesome trips away from home to visit. One of said trips happened to fall on our dad's birthday, and with our collective cleverness combined, we decided to buy him an Xbox. Because, he can't turn it down if we are buying it for him, right? Now that I think about it, we were selfish rascals. Of course, Mom was the one buying the Xbox for us anyways, so I'm sure they were both in on it. But at the time, all I could think was, wow, it totally worked! We have an Xbox! For the next few years, we were consumed with Halo and Soul Calibur. To this day, I still think one of the best story moments in a video game was in Halo. My family had converted an old carriage house on our property into a fully insulated building that we used as somewhat of a giant game room. One night, my older brother and I were playing through Halo's story on co-op mode. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were isolated in this separate building with all the lights off. If you've played it, you know the moment. Master Chief walks into that room and pulls the video chip out of the dead Marine's helmet, and you watch the introduction to the Flood as they mutilate the poor, heroic men, and then the video ends. And that nervous feeling rises in your gut as the doors open and the bulbous, sickeningly stretched zombie-like exploding blobs come pouring in at you. Yup, Halo was awesome. Then there was Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur changed me as a person. With my overly competitive nature continuously growing from a young age, the fights we waged in-game seemed to affect me more than any other game previously. Let me set the stage here quickly. My characters of choice seemed to trend towards small, fast, light characters, while my little brother loved the large, decimate you in one combo, laugh at your puny moves, killing machines. He also knew exactly what buttons to press, and when to press them, to get my blood boiling. And yes, I mean both the controller's buttons and my buttons. I recall after one such humiliating defeat, I stormed out so upset that I resolved two things. I would never play Soul Calibur again, and I would try as hard as I could to enjoy the games I did play, even when I was getting crushed. Yeah, that's been a continual project, easier said than done, but the better I get at it, the more enjoyable so many other areas of life become, not just in gaming. I played a plethora of games over the following years, always remaining faithful to Pokemon, Super Smash Bros., and Elder Scrolls games. In college, I discovered shiny Pokemon and hunted feverishly, building a collection of shinies that I have yet to see rivaled. In fact, that kept me occupied for years. Determined to acquire a shiny Charizard, I hunted for months and months and months, hatching innumerable eggs until I finally found her over a year later. And she is beautiful. Next was Clash of Clans, the gateway to my mobile gaming experience. This game appealed to so many of the things I looked for in a game. The long-term grind, the competitive battles, and most of all the community aspect to the game. I truly think the best update to any game of all time has to go to Clash of Clans and the War update of 2014. Being the top player of our clan and our leader, I wanted to start out our first war with a bang, so I studied our enemy clan's #1 base with patience and determination. I had never done a mass hog attack before that, but the setup seemed perfect for it. As soon as the battle day started, I mean within the first few minutes, I 3-crowned my first war attack, decimating their #1. I was totally, 100% hooked. Which leads us right to Clash Royale, and you know that story. It is truly a fantastic game that pulls at my desire for collecting, my love of community gaming, and my competitive drive. I also have the pleasure to make these videos, which you Barehandians continue to support. To that, I say thank you. Here's to another 100 videos.